I hope all of you have included it as well. If you've included it, please type done in the chat. Okay, 3 or 4 people have said that they've done it. So now we're going to learn about what basic parts of Bootstrap. So Bootstrap, first thing is we're going to learn about containers. So this is the most basic layout structure for in Bootstrap. It's called a container. So the way we write Bootstrap is that we write simple HTML and we add lots of classes to our HTML. So for example, I'm going to write HTML here and I'm going to add a class. Suppose I want to add the Bootstrap class called container over here. I hope you can see this here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make a div and I'm going to give it a class of container. As you can see over here. Now I have a div with a class of container. I'm going to inspect it once. And you can see over here, I have a div with a class of container. And you can see on the right, I hope it's visible, that there's lots of styles here on the right. Look at this. These styles, I didn't give them any styles. You can see on the right, there's so much of styles. You can see all of this here. I didn't give it any styles. This is just coming from Bootstrap. Look at this on the right. It's being linked by Bootstrap. I hope you can see this. I've highlighted it here. So now we know that Bootstrap's container class is also being applied here. So whenever we're going to write code, we're going to have one div with the class of. Okay. There's a couple of people joining. So I'll just repeat it once more time. So Bootstrap is a website we're going to be using, and this website is going to help us write code much faster. So previously, when we were writing code, now in Bootstrap, with Bootstrap, we're going to copy paste the code, and it's much faster for us. You can see here. It's going to save you. Wait, sorry, can you hear me now? Okay. I hope this is clear. Please type in the chat if you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Hello? Okay, you can hear me. Perfect. So next, we're going to be learning about buttons. So for example, we were writing buttons before. Okay, I'll just show you how to get Bootstrap one more time. Just go to this link, copy this link, paste it on your browser. This link, the second file, just copy this and paste it in your file. That's how you get Bootstrap. You can see here, this is just CSS. This is an external style sheet, Bootstrap. So we're going to be starting with buttons. So for example, I want to learn how to make buttons in Bootstrap. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to this link, for example, or I can just go to Bootstrap website. I can search for buttons here. Look, buttons over here. And you can see on Bootstrap, they have lots of buttons. Like look at this button, for example. This is a blue color button. It says button primary. So if I want this button, I can just copy the link. You see the first one? I'm going to take this. I'm going to copy it and I'm going to paste it in my style sheet, in my website, sorry, over here. And now you're going to see that I have a button, a blue button over here. So that's how I can make buttons. And this is much faster than writing the CSS ourselves. This is just one line of code. And if I hover over the button, you can see the styles it has on the right. You can see all of these styles. I didn't write these styles. I'm just copying it from Bootstrap. So this is a fast way for us to make Bootstrap, like write HTML. So I hope everyone can see this clearly. Everyone just go to this website, buttons for Bootstrap. You can search it like this, buttons. And you can see that there's lots of types of buttons. These are some of the basic buttons. And then if you go down, you can see inverted buttons. So if you hover over them, their color changes. You can see like this. So if I want this, I'm just going to copy this code here for the first one, primary. I'm going to go to my VS Code and I'm going to paste it. I go back here. And if I hover over it, you can see it becomes blue like this. And how are we doing this? What are we doing? We're just having a normal button. You can see the button over here. It has a class of BTN and then BTN outline primary. I hope you can see this. So this is the reason that our buttons look like this. If you remove these classes, then you can see that this button looks very ugly, like the ones we've been doing before. This is a browser button. And if I add these classes back, now it looks like a Bootstrap button. You can see this is much more prettier. So this is the types of buttons. We can make buttons large and small as well by adding these classes, you can see. And if you're ever interested, you can just go to the docs and you can read them. You can make buttons disabled so nobody can click on them. Like I'll just do one right here. If I write disabled here, now I can't click on it. You can see it, hopefully. If I hover over it, nothing happens. And if I click on it, nothing happens. So these are buttons. Very important. We always use buttons in our websites. Next, I'm going to look at text color and alignment. So before, I'll just open this link or I'll just show it here. Text alignment. You can see. So before, when we were writing, we would suppose I want a paragraph with some lorem ipsum. Over here, this is just simple text. I'm going to add a bit more, actually. This is some simple paragraph text, right? Now, if I wanted to center it, what I'd have to do is I'd have to connect a CSS file. Like if I want to link a CSS file. Over here, if I make a CSS file. And if I write paragraph with color of aquamarine, for example, if I want to make the text aquamarine. So now you can see that this is aquamarine. But in Bootstrap, we can make it, it's way simpler using Bootstrap. What we can do is we can go to the website and, over here, this is the link. We can just go to this website. I search for colors and now you can see over here, there's lots of options. I can go here. I can just make it text primary and that's going to make the color look like this blue over here. So if I just remove this, if I remove this style, you can see the color is black right now because there's nothing added. But if I go to the paragraph, to this paragraph over here, and I give it a class, you can see. And we can check on Bootstrap, what's the class? What is it called? It's called text primary. Oops, sorry. I give it a class of text primary. You can see that it's blue now. So you can see it's much simpler using Bootstrap. I hope this is very clear to you. I'll show you the link for Bootstrap again. It's this one for colors. And the easy way to find it is I can just search Bootstrap text colors. And you'll find it right here. This is version 5. We're using, and you can find it's the same classes like this. So that's for color. And next, I'm going to show you about alignment. So I go back to Bootstrap and I search for alignment, text alignment. Over here, I click on it. Over here, you can say it says text start, text center, text end. So start is in the left, center is in the middle, end is on the right. If I try text end, for example, you can see it goes to the right. So instead of having to use Bootstrap's classes to do it for us. So I hope you can understand and I hope you can see that it's way easier to use Bootstrap to write some CSS instead of writing it ourselves. So next I'm going to show you about Bootstrap's background color. So if you want the body to have a background color, you can just go here, search for background color. Basically, if you want the paragraph stuff color, you need to use color. And if you want a background color, you need background color over here, BG primary. Like this is the class name. I hope you can see. So if I make a BG primary to anything, I'm gonna get that primary color, background color. So if I go here and I give BG primary, you can see it has a primary background color and it has black text. I'll tell you why, because I deleted the BG like text primary class. If I have both of them, you're going to see that the text is going to be invisible. They're going to be the same color. If I reload, now you can't see the text, but it's here. It's just the same color. So that's how you set background color. And if I want background color for the entire website, I can just give this class to the body as I've shown. Class as BG primary. If I do this, you're going to see the entire body has this primary color. I hope this is visible. Okay, next, we're going to be looking at Bootstrap grid system. So basically, I hope everyone has no doubts till here. If you have any doubts, please ask now. I've shown you a bit of Bootstrap and I've shown you how it's easy to write code using Bootstrap. Wait, there's one doubt.
Yes. So for using this Bootstrap, you have to like copy paste that program you had shown
Yes.
before.
So I'll show you what we're copy pasting. I think 2 or 3 people have this doubt. So if you go to our file, this is the file. You can go to the top. You can see over here, there's a link. This link tag over here. This is for Bootstrap. So if you have this link tag, that's all you need to have Bootstrap in your system. It's just one line of code. And to show you, I'll make a new file. I'll call it I'll just write some garbage here. Syntax that we've learned all this time. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a link tag. Okay. Or I'll just copy it from Bootstrap again. So right now, if I copy it and I include it over here after the title, remember, we always include it before the head ends in every HTML file. And I go back and I reload, you're going to see that this changes. Okay, the text changes. Just look at the text very carefully. Here, I hope you notice the text changed. So this is how we have Bootstrap in our files, and that's how you include this to see. You need to include the CSS link here if you want Bootstrap. If you don't have it, then it's not going to work for you. So I'm deleting that now. And anyone have any doubts? I've showed you 3 or 4 properties on Bootstrap. I've showed you how to change the text color, how to change the text alignment, how to change background color, and I've shown you buttons. And if you're ever curious to learn more about them, you can always go to the docs and you can search for it. Like if I want to learn more about buttons, I can see here and I can copy the code from here as well. It's not like there's nothing wrong with that. That's what we're doing. We're just copying the code. Anyone have any doubts? Hello? Okay. No doubts, I think. Oh, Sid, you can ask it.
Yeah. Is there nothing like you said that there's nothing wrong with it? Isn't it like plagiarism something?
Isn't it? Sorry.
Isn't it like plagiarism?
Yeah, so actually that's not a problem here because what we're doing is we're gonna copy it from here and then we're gonna paste it in our code and we're gonna change it there. And even if we don't change it, it's perfectly fine because that's why Bootstrap was made. You can go here and you can search for Bootstrap, for example. You can see that it's a free and open source CSS framework, and it's made basically to it's made to make responsive website a reality, and we're supposed to copy it from Bootstrap. It's not, there's nothing wrong in that. Okay. So
Okay.
please don't feel bad about using Bootstrap. And always, if you have any doubts when you're using Bootstrap or anything on web development, you can just search your doubts on Google. And there's lots of people who have the same doubts and they will always help you. So don't feel bad about plagiarism. Okay. So now I'm going to be sharing an important topic. So in Bootstrap, there's a specific syntax we follow whenever we make a website. And the syntax is given here. It's very simple. So first, we must have a div with the class of container. I'm going to go back to my file. I'm going to delete everything to make it easy. Hope all of you have this. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Hello, am I audible now? Can you guys hear me? Okay, I'm sorry for the technical difficulties. I think there's something wrong with my mic. Anyway, so what we need first is a div with a class of container. Everyone please go to your body and have a class of container, div with a class of container, like this. Next, what we need is at least one div with a class of row inside of the container. So I'm going to go back to my code and I'm going to make one div with a class of row. You can see over here, div with the class of row. And the important thing to know is that every row in Bootstrap has 12 units of space. 12 units of space. It's given over here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give columns. Okay. So this is the basic syntax. Each row should have one or more columns. So I'm going to go back to my code and I'm going to make a div with a class of columns. This is one column. This is one more column. This is third column. So you can see that there's 3 columns here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some lorem ipsum to all 3 of them. And I'll show you something very interesting very soon. Like this. I hope you can see. 1 second. This is my code. Like this. I hope this is clear. Now I'm going to go open this up in my website. You can see that magically, all of these are taking the same space. Look at this. We go to our container. This is our container. You can see it's highlighted and we learned about what all it has. So we can see it has a margin and then it doesn't have a border and it has some padding. Okay. Left and right. And now if we look at our columns, you can see that they're all equal. Look at the pixel. 380 times 144, 380 times 144, 380 times 144. So magically Bootstrap is automatically making all of these have the same size, as you can see. So we don't have to worry about centering anything or converting everything. This is just done magically by Bootstrap. I hope you can see this. And if I shrink it, it's still the same. Like, look at this. If I shrink it, they're all the same still. And if I make it big, wait. You can see that they're still the same. 440, 440, 440, and 120, 120, 120. So that's what Bootstrap is doing for us. It's magically making. Now what we can do is basically each of these columns are taking up 4 units. That one row has 12 units and there's 3 columns. Each column is taking up 4 units. Hello, can you hear me now? Am I audible? Is it better now? Hello? Okay. I was here. So yeah, so what we can do now is we can change the width of our columns. Like suppose we want one column to take more space. Suppose we want this column to take 8 spaces and the other to take 2 spaces. We can do is we can add these numbers next to the columns. Next to the columns, we can add these numbers like this. And if I reload, you're going to see that this column is going to take a lot of space. Look at this. Can you see on my screen? Is this clear? Can you see this on my screen? So I hope you understand how we change the columns. Okay, I'm going to continue on. So I hope you understand the basic syntax for Bootstrap. It's like this. You need to have a container. Inside of a container, at least one row. Inside of a row, at least one column, like this. I'll show you over here. I hope this is visible. I'm going to continue on. And if you don't hear me, then please type in the chat. I'll rejoin the meeting because I think there's something wrong in my system. Okay. Next, I'm going to go to Bootstrap forms. So Bootstrap forms, like remember when we were making forms, they were very hard to style. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to Bootstrap and we're going to copy a form from there. And their forms are going to be very beautiful. I'll show you in just a second. I go here, I search for forms, press enter. I hope you can see here. This is the Bootstrap website. So now I'm going to search for a form that I like. I'm scrolling. You know what? I'll just take the first form. This one over here. Look at this form. It has an email address and a password over here. And it has some text. I'm just going to go here. I'm going to copy this. And I'm going to go back to my file. I'm going to paste it. In here. I hope this is audible. I hope this is visible. And now you can see that we have a form. And it's very fast. Like it only took us 10 seconds to copy this form. And suppose instead of email and password, I want to have username and email. I can just go here and I can change it here now. Like instead of email address, I can write username. And instead of input type email, I can write text. Remember, we've learned all this. And we'll write, we don't need this line because obviously it's not an email, and username and password over here. So now if I go back and I check, I've automatically just created a form like this, and it's way faster. And if I don't want this checkbox, I can just delete it. I go back to my VS Code. I don't want the checkbox. I search for it. This is the checkbox. I delete it. I go back here. And now I magically have a form. If I submit the form, I can change the submit location over here with an action tag, action. Suppose I put tacos. So now if I reload and I put something here and I submit it, you can see it goes to /tacos. I hope this is clear. So if you ever want to make a form quickly, you can just go to Bootstrap and you can copy it from here. Does anyone have any doubts? No doubts? Okay. Okay, perfect. So this is very important for us to know Bootstrap because this allows us to write code very quickly. And we can write whatever we want using Bootstrap. So next, I'm going to show you some features of the forms. You can see over here. So remember text areas? These are text area inputs. As you can see, I can even type it here. You can see that there's a row and a column. And I don't know if you noticed this, but once I click on this, you can see that it highlights. This is because of Bootstrap. So all of this, there's lots of features that Bootstrap offers that makes our code look very nice. you can change the size using classes. Like it's very easy to change everything. Like if I want this, if I want the password to be disabled, all I need is to write one word on my password. I just go here and I make it disabled. Inside the input. Inside the class, I give it a class of disabled. And you can see it's not going to work anymore. Wait, sorry. Oh, sorry. It has to be outside of the curly brackets. You can see over here. Outside of the input. So outside, if I write disabled, it's going to be gone. You can see it auto-completed for me as well. If I disable this, now it's not going to work. Now I can't type on it. I hope you can see this. So this is very important. These are some useful links we can check out. We'll just quickly glance through them. So 1 second. Yeah, form control. You can just look at this if you want read-only plain text. Like if you don't want the person to change what they've written, you can just make it like this. You can copy the first div over here. And if you want it to be like next to each other, you can see that there's a row and then a column, 3 columns, and they're all next to each other. So whatever you like, you can just copy from here and you can change it yourself. Like next is selects. We learned about selects. If I want a select in my form, I can copy this. Sahana, I'll get back to you for that. We'll learn it in after a few days. That requires JavaScript. So I go back to my form, and if I want just the select to be there, I go back here. Now you can see that this select, and you can see that if I click on it, there's being highlights, and on Bootstrap it looks way better. And if I remove Bootstrap, then you're going to see it looks very ugly. Just want to show this to you one more time. You can see this is the select. So you can see the huge difference in quality that we have. Like this is a select without Bootstrap. We are used to make selecting like this. These are how our selects looked. But now with Bootstrap, all we have to do is we just copy that and we give it a class and it looks like this, as you can see. And one more thing is that you need to make sure that you have the right class. Like for example, I make one more select here, but I give it a wrong class, like you can see, like this. So it's not going to work. If I go back, you can see that this is not working. So make sure that you have the right class, because once I go back to my code, you can see I gave it a class of this, but this doesn't exist. So that's why there's no styles being added. If I inspect it as well, for the first one, for the first one, you can see that there's the style being added, dot form select. Remember CSS we learned? Look at all these styles, width of 100%, display block. If I stop bringing them, then you can see that it starts changing as well on the left. If I make it like this, then it goes back like this. And the second one, you can see that it has no styles. These are just browser styles on the right. The first one, it has styles. You can see the class here. I hope this is clear. Next, we're going to be learning about navbars. Navbars are really important, and they're used in every website, and it's a very, very big syntax. So that's why we use Bootstrap for something like navbars. I'll show it to you now. I go here, I search for navbar, for example. Nav, N-A-V-B-A-R. I click on the first link. Now, you can see the code for navbar. Look at this. It's very huge. It's almost like 50 lines of code. And it looks like this. This is how the navbar looks. I hope you can see this. It has a navbar and then a home link and then a drop-down menu. And it has a disabled link. So what we can do is, suppose we want to make a navbar here for our own websites, right? So we can go here. We can look for a navbar that we like. Over here in the bottom, suppose I want like a navbar like this. I can copy that. But for demonstration purposes, I'm using the first one. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to paste it in my code. We paste the navbar before the container like this. So now I'm going to show you the navbar that we have. You can see here that we have a navbar. I'm going to delete this code here because it's clogging up our website. I'm deleting this. And I accidentally added a letter here. I'm deleting that. Now you're going to see the nav bar on top of our screen. I hope this is visible. This nav bar over here. And if you want to change how this nav bar looks, we can do that very easily. So first in the starting, instead of nav bar, if I wanted to show my name, I can write here, my name. I can change where this link goes. If I reload and I click on it, you can see it's taking me somewhere else. So all of this is custom. We can write our own HTML in here. Next, you can see that there's lots of classes in here. And what these classes do basically is that they, suppose the screen is small, you can see that this collapsed here. Can you see this? If I open it, you can see that the links break up. They open up. And once I start shrinking it, they automatically collapse over here. These are all the links. So all of this is done using Bootstrap, and it's very easy to do using Bootstrap. That's why we are using this tool. I hope you can see this here. So I go back to this website. And instead of this having home link, if I wanted to have like a normal website, they have sign up and login and stuff. So I can write sign up. And I can write login. And this can go to a different page. This can go to /login. This can go to /sign up. So this is how normal websites look. If I click on sign up, it's going to take me to a different page. If I click on login, it takes me to a different page. And we're going to make a website like this tomorrow, in fact. So we're going to use Bootstrap. I'm going to make a website. So I hope you're understanding this very clearly. Like this, if I don't want this nav bar, if I don't want this drop down, I can just delete it. I can select it and delete it. And now you're going to see this drop down disappear if I reload. See, it's gone. Now it's not there. And if I don't want this disabled link, I can delete that as well. So now you can see that this is a pretty nice looking nav bar that we made in just like 2 or 3 minutes using Bootstrap. So this is how we use Bootstrap. And this is just placeholder. Like it's not going to work. It's not going to do anything because we didn't connect anything. But this is how we do it. I hope this is very clear to you. And obviously, it's going to be impossible for us to write the syntax by ourselves without Bootstrap. So that's why we need Bootstrap for this. And we can change the color of the navbar. Like suppose I want this navbar to be blue. Remember before I told you how to change the background? I can go to this. I can write BG primary. Now it's blue. I hope this is visible. So it's very simple for us to change all of our code using Bootstrap classes. If I want the text to be green, I can write, if I want the text to be a different color, basically. Okay, I think it's the same color, like secondary is just black, so it didn't work. But anyway, I hope you understand what I'm trying to show you. This is the normal white navbar. So we're going to continue on. And remember, if you ever want to search for the navbar syntax, you can just search Bootstrap navbar. Click on the latest link. You can see over here version 5.2. This is the one we're using. If you go to the docs, it's going to show you version 5.2. These are previous releases. We want the latest one. And we can just copy our code from here. And I'm going to... So next we're going to cover Bootstrap dark mode. So basically, if you want your entire website to be dark mode, there's a very easy way to do this. All you have to do is you have to write 3 words in your HTML boilerplate. Look over here, you can see this is the boilerplate. And on the top, it says data-bs-theme is equal to dark. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go here and I'm going to write data-bs theme is equal to, is equal to dark. Now watch what happens. Watch what happens here. If I reload, you can see that everything changed. All of this is dark now. And if I go back and I remove this, you can see that this is now automatically inverted. And in fact, I'll add some text in here because there's only one select. I go back here and I'll just add a bunch of lorem ipsum. You can see that this is now white text. So this is Bootstrap automatically doing it for me. I didn't tell it to be white. PS. Wait. Sorry. Can you just type properly? Like, I didn't understand what you asked. Okay, I'm gonna continue on. So this is the text. If I take it back, if I change, if I remove this, now you can see if I reload, all of this has gone back to normal, and this is black text now. I'm not changing anything. Like, I don't have any CSS file linked. Like, if I go to this, there's nothing in it. Like, it's not me that's changing this. Yeah, that's a good point. Basically, Bootstrap is like a servant. You can just use it to write HTML code, and Bootstrap is there to help us. So if you need help in anything, and you can learn a lot. Like, I'm going to show you some things. I'm not going to show you something. Like, if I go, for example, I look at this, click on this. Look at this. This is a carousel, and you can make it like this. Like, if you click on it, these buttons, they change the slides. You can see it says first slide, second slide, third slide. So if I copy this inside my code, copy this inside my code and I paste it here. This is just a sample example that I've taken. Random one. Oh, never mind. It's not working because we didn't include it properly. But I'll show you something else though. Oh, sorry, it is working. Wait. Only problem is that our images aren't loading. So that's what we need to do. Sorry. I go back. You know what? It doesn't matter actually. I'll show you this. Like, this is a card. We go back here. Suppose I want a card like this. I go down a bit. Kitchen sink card, like you can see over here. So this is very commonly used in websites. I click on this kitchen sink card, and then I paste it here under the form. I'm going to show you. So this is what it looks like. You can see that this over here, this is our image. So if we had an actual image, if I copy it, paste it inside the source, you're going to see how it looks. Wait, what? Sorry. Copy image address. Like this. Go back. You can see that this pops up. So this is a card. And inside the card, we can write about the title. Like, this is cars. Or red car if I want. And I can give information about it now. So now I can build my website. So this is just the basic boilerplate. And then I can write about the car. Like, this is a very fast car, for example. If I want to make a car website. And now you'll see that we can make our own items. And then this can be a link to a different place. This can be a different link. So I hope you can see that Bootstrap is just there to provide us a syntax. So if I want to see the cards, I can go here. And this is the card. This is how the card looks. Image, and then title, some text, and then a couple of items, and then this card links here. Over here, I hope you can see this. This is the code. I go to Bootstrap and I search for card. I get this page. Go to Bootstrap and I want a button, for example. An inverted button. So it looks good, like this one. I'm going to select the danger one. And I'm going to paste it here. So now I have a red button that's inverted. You can see it's pretty hard for us to make our website like our own styles. So Bootstrap makes it so simple for us. We just copy paste it. How to make the card right aligned? Oh, basically, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show that to you later. Anyway, we're going to continue on. Bootstrap icons. This is also very cool. So I go online and I search for Bootstrap icons. I go to this file, like I go to this website here. This one. I'm pasting it in chat. Please go to this website and you can see that there's lots of icons in the bottom. Suppose I want an icon for a camera. So if I want this one, I can click on this and I just copy this HTML. You can see copy HTML. I copy this and I just paste it in my website. I'll paste in the bottom. Just look at this huge syntax here. We're not going to worry about it for now. We're just going to look at this. What happens? You can see this camera showing up. Okay, wait, I'll zoom in a bit. I hope you can see in the bottom, this camera shows up. So what's very common is that we keep this next to some of our text. Like, for example, first I'm going to clean up this code because it's very messy. I'm going to delete all this. Okay. I'm going to write H1. And I'll paste it here like this in an H1. So now you're going to see that this camera shows up. And if you want the camera to be bigger, I'll just show you now. We go to our file, and we make this bigger. Like you see width 16 and height 16, just change this. 50 if I want. 50. Now you can see it's bigger. So I hope this is clear to you. Like they put an icon inside the button. You can see here. The button has a camera icon next to it. If I want to do that, I can do the same thing. I copy this. I go back. I paste this here. And I search for buttons in Bootstrap. If I want this button, for example, this danger one, or this warning one, I'll use this warning. I'll copy it, Control-C. I paste it here. And then inside of this button, I'm going to put the icon. You can see. Cut. Paste. Inside of this button. Now, if you go to the website, I have a warning button with a camera icon inside of it. I hope this is clear. Please type in the chat if you have any doubts. You can see the syntax. How to make the button your own customized color. Okay, that's a good question. So we can just use the same CSS we've been learning before. So I'll go back, Control-Z that. Yeah. Suppose I have this button in my file, like that's all I have here. And instead of this becoming yellow, I want it to be something else, like for example. So what I'll do is, yeah. I hope you can see this here, this button. I want to change the color. I can go to my CSS file. First, I'm going to link my CSS file. So you can see links here. I'm going to select all buttons. I'm going to give them a width of, suppose, 100 pixels, okay? So we're going to test and see if this works. You can see now the button changed. Like, wait, let's make it 300 pixels. You can see the width of the button, it's increased. And even these have increased because they're buttons as well. And if we want to change just this button, the yellow one, we can give it an ID. Remember, we learned that. IDs. I go to this button, I give it an ID. If I make it my ID of my button, I can make hashtag my button. And now only this has increased, like these haven't increased, you can see. This has a width of 300 pixels. And over here, I can change my styles. If I give it a background color of, and one more thing I can show you is you can type hexadecimal background colors. Like if I type octatorp, and then if I type, you can see here, this is a color. Instead of typing the color name itself, you can go here. You can search for color picker. Color picker. Just go to any website. Over here, you can change the hex. Like for hex, if I like this color, like this one, I can copy the hex. You can see. If I want this color, I can copy the hex. So I'm going to copy the hex. I'm going to paste the hex here. Now it's going to be green. You can see it looks very ugly because we're just the background color like this instead of using, and then we have Bootstrap's border and everything. But this is how you change it. So I hope I cleared it out. And one more thing I want to show you is that you can see very important that our style sheet is after Bootstraps. Otherwise, if we don't have it after, then cascading, right? That's gonna happen. It's like first the Bootstrap style sheet and then our style sheet. If we change it like this, then if we change the widths or anything, they're gonna be gone. So right now what we gave it custom properties. You can see here. Like this. We gave it custom properties. But if we gave it like this, like //BS button color, if we gave it like that, then they would be deleted. I remember cascading. That's what happens. If we have two style sheets and they're both targeting the same thing, then the later style sheet wins. So that's what we always do, is first we link Bootstrap and then we link our CSS. Like this. I hope this is clear. So we've covered Bootstrap icons as well, and Bootstrap borders. Remember borders? We learned about link. And you can see that if I want a blue border, all I can do is make it border primary, and that's going to give me a border, blue one. So if I go here and I have a paragraph with some lorem ipsum in it, and over here I give it a hello, can you hear me now? Am I audible? Okay. This is how it looks. So basically what I'm showing you is that you can copy paste everything you want from Bootstrap. Like all of this. If I want the border to be very thick, you can see they say border -1 for this and what border -5. So if I write border -5, it's going to work. Border -5. I go to mine and you can see it's thicker now. So this is also clear. Just go to Bootstrap, search for borders, and you'll find it. If I want something else, margin and padding, I can do that too as well. You can see I search for padding, PADD. I find it here. It's a very good website. That's what we're going to learn about, Bootstrap spacing. So look at this, for example. Like if I want a centered element, all I have to do is I rotate MX auto and then P2, you can see. So if I want this to be centered, I'll just copy this. I'll remove this style and I write lorem ipsum in here. Now you can see it's centered. And if I you can see that it's centered on the screen. I hope this is clear. You can learn like a lot of things yourself as well. You can just go to Bootstrap, search like this is for cards. We saw this already. I'll show it to you one more time. It's very commonly used as well, cards. And we can learn new things as well with Bootstrap. Cards. And I can copy whichever card I want. Suppose I want this card. I can copy this code. And I can paste it in here. And our image is going to break. You can see the image is breaking here because it doesn't have a source. I hope this is clear. This image is breaking. And if I want an image, I can just add one. Copy image address. In the source, I paste it. You can see here, this is the source. I hope this is clear. Now I get a card. And if I want the width to be smaller, like remember in CSS, we learned a lot about changing images. What I can do is I can write, first of all, let me see what this is. This is an image. If I want, I can give it an ID if you want to. My image, for example. Hashtag my image. I'm going to write some CSS. If I give it a width of 10 pixels, just to see if it's working, you can see it's very small. So I'm going to make it normal, like 400 pixels. You can see it's big now, like this. And if I write width 100% and aspect ratio, remember, we learned this, aspect ratio of 16:9. Like this. Now this car image is stretched. You can see. And I can change the aspect ratio. If I want a square image, I can make 1:1. Like this. So you can see it looks very pretty, and this is very fast. It only took us 1 or 2 minutes compared to making this entire thing by scratch. So Bootstrap's very important. I hope you have any, if you have any doubts, please ask me now. We've covered a lot. We've learned a lot in Bootstrap. Any doubts? And I hope you understand like the reasoning behind what I'm doing. So suppose I want to learn something. I want to add something new. I go to navbar. I want a navbar. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to look at one which I like. You can go here. You can scroll. Suppose I like this one. Okay. Totally optional which one you like. It depends on you. Okay, that's a very good question. Is it true that the disadvantage of Bootstrap is that the builder of the website will not learn the syntax, as he will copy paste the syntax and make all the necessary changes? That's a very good question. Thank you for asking. So basically, like one thing sorry, my computer's glitching. Yeah. So that technically you can say that's true, but for some things like nav bars, you can see over here, like look at the syntax for a nav bar. You can see it's very huge. And if I just go here, suppose I don't want to learn Bootstrap. Okay, I search nav bar HTML and I search. You can see that this nav bar, look at this. First, it's asking us to add HTML. Then we're supposed to copy all of this text. And then once we even do all of this, it's not going to look as pretty as ours. Like if I go here, I'm going to go to a new file. Test.html. I'm going to do this here quickly. I'm going to paste this code here. And I'm going to make a new CSS file as well. Test2.css. I'm going to link it quickly. Test2. And I'm going to copy their CSS, like for example. And now I'm going to open this. Duplicate. This is test1. I'm going to make test2. Open this like here. Go to my URL. I'll change it. You can see this is the navbar. Look at how ugly it looks. Like compare this to our navbar over here. Wait. I'll delete this. Compare this to our navbar. I'll look much better. As you can see, this looks really weird. Looks very clunky, and you need to know a lot of CSS to write this. Like, look at the code. CSS here, and we haven't covered some things of this, the CSS. But for us, all we are doing is we're just copying it from Bootstrap, and we're writing our own code. So ours is way simpler. And for stuff like navbars and for big stuff, like you're not going to remember it anyway. Like it's impossible. There's no way one can remember so much syntax. And if you want to make a good website, you need a lot of syntax. Like suppose I go to any good website, like YouTube, for example. Click on inspect. You can see first off, we have like so many scripts in here. Like, look at this. And then we have starting. Look at this. This is just one icon. And we have a lot of syntax. Look at all the syntax. Very huge. So that's why for us, we're beginners, we can just use Bootstrap, and this will help us a lot in our careers, especially if you want to do web development in the future. So that's why learning Bootstrap is very important. And there's lots of alternatives as well. So like if I search for Bootstrap alternatives, you can see that there's many. Like I just use Bootstrap, but you can use others as well. Like suppose Bulma. If I search for Bulma, you can see this is also pretty similar. But you're going to have to download code, and it's not as good as mine, like Bootstrap, sorry. Like you can see, this is Bulma's. I copy paste this, and that's Bulma's is going to look like this. You can see over here, like this. And there's one called Tailwind. Tailwind navbar. I go here. You can see This is the code for Tailwind. So it's not like you have to use Bootstrap. You can use many others, but Bootstrap just is the best, like in my opinion, because of its documentation. Look at this. If I have any doubts, I can just go here and I can search for it. So that's why I use Bootstrap. Do you have any other doubts? How to make websites using Python? Actually, that's not possible because the websites you make, like 98% of the websites are made using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it's way easier for us to learn how to make websites using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript compared to Python. And in fact, I don't even know how to do that. So, but I'm sure you can. Like if you Google, I'm sure you'll find it. How to make a website using Python. You can see that it pops up, and you're going to find so many websites online. They can teach you. Even on YouTube, they're going to have tutorials and everything. So if you're ever curious, if you want to learn, please Google. It'll help you a lot. Suppose I want to learn about Bootstrap. There's so many things here. Like, look at this. Like, look at this. This is a modal. If I click on this, like launch demo modal, if I click on this button, it's going to open up this on our browser. So you can see very interesting stuff. Lots of it is very interesting. And if you're ever interested, you just learn yourself. So that's basically it. I just want to show you Bootstrap. I want to show you how to quickly make websites very good and very fast. And tomorrow we're going to make our small website ourselves. And I had a quiz for today, but since time's already up, I'll have to postpone it to tomorrow. So if you have any doubts, please ask me now.